Hey everyone, I'm back for another installment of our Tool Time Tuesday, and this time I'm going to do a product review of a new hydraulic press that my lovely husband bought me for my birthday. So that is what we're going to be looking at today. This press I'm actually very impressed with. I had done a lot of research on the different presses. The Bonnie Doon, and then there's one I can't remember the name of it now, something Shark, and then the Potter USA press. And I was most impressed with the Potter. Not only was it more affordable, but it also had this larger platen here that I think makes it easier to work with stabilizing your pieces, particularly if they're a little larger. This press uses a 20-ton jack. That's what this is. It's a bottle jack. I ordered it through a company called Jack Exchange on the recommendation of the maker of the press. He told me that it would be better for me to buy it through Jack Exchange rather than him because, one, it would save me money, and two, it would also make sure that the warranty was in my name so that if I had any issues I could easily return it to the company where I bought it. One thing that you do want to do if you order something like this is you do want to order also the gauge to go with it. Now there is a gauge that goes along with this particular jack that I bought, and it was more expensive than the jack itself. So don't buy that one if you're going to. If you have questions on that, you can contact either myself or Kevin Potter of Potter USA, and he can kind of help you out with which kind of gauge to buy. Along with my press, I ordered several pancake dies that allow me to cut out various shapes. I actually also have a few more on order from Kevin that are in the mail right now that I'm very excited about, when I should get those probably later this week. This allows you to cut out multiple shapes repeatedly so that you can save time rather than trying to saw things out by hand, because that takes forever. Another thing that you can do with the hydraulic press is to puff up shapes using urethane and the Silhouette dies. So again, I have more of these on order coming to me as well. You can just use these in the press using a thing of urethane and just put that on there, press it down in the press, and you'll get this. But another thing that you can do, and it will help to kind of concentrate the pressure, is use a container. Now this is one that Kevin sells as well, and it comes with the 3 pieces, so you have the container, the urethane, and a metal pusher, and that is how I did this. And considering that this is 18 gauge metal, that's pretty good. I did anneal this first, and you can see that I didn't get quite the entire shape on there. Like the points of the stars would need to be chased in a little bit, and I usually will just go back with a chasing tool and a chasing hammer to further define any of those points that didn't quite come out yet. Okay, so let's see how this works. I want to show you how to use one of these pancake dies. You can see that it's been precision cut out. It's all one piece. You can see that it kind of lifts up there. You insert your metal here in between the popped up part and then the back part of this, and it's nice too because it tells you this is the side that you need to place down. So what we do is we're going to insert our metal. Let's see if I can do this one-handed here. You insert your metal, and I may have to just take a break here, and then we're going to put this in the press. Okay, so here I have inserted my metal, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this over and I'm going to insert this into the press so that when I compress the platens together, it will put the pressure on the metal and it will go through and cut the shape out for me. Alright, here I have my pancake die and my metal all together. My gauge of the metal here, this is copper, it's 20 gauge. You do want to use a little thicker metal on these pancake dies, otherwise they're not going to cut through quite as easily. So at this point, what I'm going to do is just come through and begin to press this, and as I do, the platen is going to raise up. You can kind of see this closing in on itself here, hopefully. And when I'm doing my pancake dies, I'm going to just keep pressing until I hear kind of a clunk where the pancake die cuts. There it is. It cuts through the metal, and there you can see that it's now gone through. You can kind of see everything is smashed together, for lack of a better word. You could keep pressing if you wanted to, but I really don't see any need to. Otherwise, I'm just going to compress and reshape my metal, or at least, you know, kind of compress it so that I've changed the gauge. What I'm going to do is I've taken my handle from the gauge or the jack here where I would do the pressing, and there's a little release valve here. So I just hook that onto the release valve, give it a little bit of a twist, and when I do, it releases that platen down. Now, I could let this come all the way down. However, then the next time I try to pump this up, I'm going to be pumping and pumping and pumping forever to get it to close back up again. So here is my metal. You can see that the pancake die has now kind of cut through this. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to pull my sheet metal off, and sometimes that's a little easier said than done. There we go. And in this case, I actually didn't cut through all the way right here. And that was because I got this too low down here for it to cut through. So I may actually have to kind of finagle my way out of this one a little bit. So let me show you kind of what I've done here. I've pulled the outer piece of the copper off. You can kind of see it laying there now. Now this one is still in here. Okay, and the reason for that is because when I put my metal in, because I was trying to do it one-handed, things shifted down a little bit. It does not cut below these little notches here. Okay, there is up to this point, and you'll see this dotted line right here. That's kind of shows you where you should line your metal up, and that leaves a little bit of a tab here. And that tab would still need to be reshaped, and I can either do that with some shears or with a jeweler's saw. But if you go below that, it's not going to get cut, which is what has happened right here. So I'll just kind of have to work my piece of metal out through the back side of this, try to pop that heart out, and then I'll have to work through and get this part of this out of here as well. And at that point, then I can cut it with a jeweler's saw or my shears to give the heart the rest of its shape. Okay, so I've worked that out now, and this is what I'm left with. So like I said, at this point I would just need to come back in with my jeweler's saw and continue that shape right there, and then I would have my heart. Now on the back side of this, and you can kind of see that a little bit right there, there are some burrs and raised edges that are left up here. This can be taken care of in a number of ways. One, I can either file that off, but if I have a whole production of these, that may be a little bit more time consuming than what I want to do. Or two, I can throw it into a tumbler for a couple of hours, and it will help to kind of smooth and burnish down those rough edges. So you do have a couple of options. Here's a nifty little thing I figured out the other day with this particular, not all shapes will do this, but with this particular one, the star, you can see that I've got my little tab here, and what I can do with that is I can actually reposition this back into that pancake die, and it will, oh sorry it's going fuzzy on us, but anyway I can put this back into the pancake die, just twisting it a little, and it will actually shear off that little tab there. Here I have carefully positioned this back in so that it lines back up. You can see that all the star points line back up, and I have the tab sticking out. So what I'm going to do is move this back over into the press, carefully reposition it so that I don't shift that star shape too much, put it back into the press so that it lines up nice and neat underneath there, and once again I'm going to insert the jack, and I'm going to bring the platen up. You can see it coming up here. Sorry, I'm trying to hold this still and raise the jack at the same time. And here I can kind of hear it clicking. And I have now gone through, I felt that go through. So pull out my jack, come back in, release the pressure, and now come back up to my shape here. And here you can see there's the piece that fell out. And hold on just one second, let me get out my star. You can see that now I've got my star perfectly shaped. And there's my star. No more tab or anything. Made it very, very easy for me to pull that out without having to go back in and try to cut out that point. Now, all of those shapes are great and everything, but what if you wanted to create your own shape? Now this one's not a pancake die, this is a silhouette die. This is something that you would use if you want to puff your material out. So this is a custom piece that I have designed for the preeclampsia foundation, or at least a similar shape, and I wanted to make a necklace pendant for myself. So I took this acrylic, it's about a 1/4 inch or so thick, maybe a little bit thicker than that. Using a jeweler's saw, I just cut out my shape that I wanted, and again placed my metal on top of it, used a urethane pusher to then push out my shape. From there I used a jeweler's saw to cut out the remainder of my piece, and this is what I'm left with. So there's a lot of commercial products that you can buy to help to shape your tools or your pieces rather, whether you're cutting out a specific shape from a pancake die or you're using something to kind of puff your design, all the way to custom pieces. So the possibilities with this are immense. And this isn't even all. I will do a couple of more tutorials showing you how to use different tools to make anti-clastic and synclastic bracelets as well. So stay tuned, pass the word about my Tool Time Tuesdays, share my blog if you would please, and keep tuned because I'll come back with some more. Thanks!